The team has earned 7 points in the final 3 games with goals and stoppage time. What does this say about the character of the team?
Well, thank you, Doug, for that question. I think it says a lot. It says about a team that doesn't give up. That last year, I remember we gave up a lot of points at the end of the games, and now we're doing completely the opposite. And that, for me, is a massive achievement because it's not something that comes on its own. It's something that is worked by the players by training very hard till the end of the training session. They have to be with full concentration and fighting and competing. And I think sometimes these things happen, like we are scoring those type of goals at the end of the game, and makes me happy because those are nice 3 points achieved at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, do you have anything else?
I'll wait till everyone else is done.
All right, guys, go ahead.
Hey, Gonzalo.
Oh, go ahead, Felipe. Go ahead.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Hi, Gonzalo. Felipe Cardenas here. The players do deserve a lot of credit. They're earning these points or scoring goals in stoppage time when a lot of times the games look lost, or tonight looked like a draw. So you're probably very happy with that. But after having 2 weeks to prepare for this match, are you satisfied with the overall performance?
Well, I would say in some ways, Felipe, I think DC United is a very good team. We face a team that is very direct. They like to overwhelm with pressure and the second balls and winning those aerial duels. And then it's hard sometimes to play against these type of teams because they are always on the front foot. They are always aggressive. So you saw a little bit of the movement between Thiago and Marcelino and Jake and Andrew and Brooks in the midfield with Ossie. I think it was pretty good at times, but the final third, again, it's the one that we are not probably very dangerous, but that will come with time. I have a lot of faith on Marcelino, Thiago, Rossetto, Jake, Joseph, and later Luis to really impact in the final third. And then with our fullbacks overlapping all the time, I think we are going to be able to produce a little bit more on the final third. Today, it was more of a fight. It was more of a competitive game against a team that likes those individual duels, that likes that physical component of the game, trying to put a type of game that is always for 50-50 balls, pressure from behind, fouls, and they are very direct, and they want always to go forward to play those long balls and then try to win the second balls. And I felt that the team at times struggled with that style, but at times it was pretty good. So again, we will review the film and we will see how we can do better.
Gonzalo, I know that when you look at the film, you'll have maybe a more complex answer, but just initially, I thought that Thiago Almada and both Marcelino Moreno both kind of were improved from last week. They just seem to be able to work really well together in their interplay. Do you agree with that? Did you see that? And why do you think that may have been?
Yes, if we've been working in something, was on that, Joe, was on the combination play between Marcelino and Thiago and how to find them in dangerous areas. So I felt that at times there were very good plays between those two. And if you add Ossie and Rossetto, finding those pockets and finding them, I think you saw a few through balls in behind to Joseph also that Marcelino and Thiago can provide. And I think that puts always a smile in my face because those two specifically are talented players for us. And we want them at the same time in the team, and they need to coexist in the same areas at times, but being able to combine. And today we saw a little bit of that, and I think they did a good job.
It seemed like the team in the second half especially was able to control the game a little bit more off the ball. You had Santiago Sosa coming in at halftime, and then later you brought in Franco Ibarra, who, that's kind of the first action we've seen from him this year. I want to get your initial thoughts, your impressions of those two players and the job they did in midfield in the second half.
Yes, they were very good. I mean, the thought in behind putting Santi and Ibarra was a little bit of the intensity that DC United was putting there with their three midfielders. They changed the formation slightly from what they've been doing. A five, we were waiting for a little bit of a 5-2-3 with Flores on the field and then two forwards. But they really came up with 5-3-2 with three midfielders and putting a lot of intensity in that part of the field, chasing, pressing, fouling. Like they were doing a good job on that. So I specifically brought Santi and Ibarra, yes, to continue with the good possession of the ball, but also to putting some of the physicality that we needed to win those duels. And both at the same time did fantastic. That's something that puts me also very happy is that the players that come from the bench are doing a great job. In every game, since the very beginning, the guys that come from the bench really impact the game and really come to contribute into sometimes maintain the same level and sometimes to even improve it. And that's something that has been my mantra here since I'm here. Like everybody's important, everybody's valuable, and we will need from everybody. And whether today was, Ibarra, was Santi Sosa, was Jackson Conway, other days was Dom Dwyer, other days was Caleb Wiley to impact in the game. And that makes me very happy because that talks about the cohesion of the whole team.
Gonzalo, I have a question about Joseph. You took him off in the 65th. I know he's coming back from international duty, but he didn't play against Colombia. So did he arrive with a bit of some sort of strain? And then how are you viewing the attack behind Joseph? I know the team signed Ronaldo Cisneros. I'm not sure what his status is. If you could fill us in, that would be good. And then Jackson's coming off some really good performances in USL, but he seemed a little tight today. What do you tell him when he's coming onto the field? Is he, I don't know, this is my personal opinion, so you can feel free to disagree, but I felt like today he pressed a little bit. He does have that potential, but what is his role when he's coming on for Joseph?
So you're talking to me specifically about Jackson Conway, right?
For Jackson, I felt tonight he just looked a little bit, he was pressing a bit. He had the opportunity from Almada that I thought he should have finished. So what is his role right now within the team? And then what are the other strikers' roles behind Joseph right now? What does that depth chart look like?
Now I understand the question. I'm sorry, Felipe. So yes, number one, I want to explain a little bit my lineup. Like I didn't want to start Miles Robinson and Ronald just because of the minutes they had in the middle of this week. And I didn't want to do that. As you said, Joseph didn't play against Colombia, but still he played plenty of minutes against Argentina. And then the travel and all that, I knew that he wasn't lasting for too long. But actually, I'm very happy with Joseph's effort because he did everything he could up to his potential and to his physical status. So I felt that he did a good job. And then in behind Joseph, we have Dom Dwyer, we have Cisneros, and we have Jackson Conway. Cisneros, I think, is going to be very soon with the team. I don't know exactly the timeline, but I hope it is within days. And let's see how he is. We know him. We've seen a lot of him from the film, and he's a good, clever player that likes to run in behind. He faced us in that preseason in Mexico against Chivas, so we know him very well. And then Jackson, I asked to Jackson just to stay central, try to compete for those individual duels against the center backs, try to fight, and to also to do a little bit of the dirty job because Thiago and Marcelino at times looked tired because they were trying too much. And at times if he had to cover for them, he had to do it. He had to put the physical demands of that position, and he did very well. He had almost a half chance, I don't know, the chance in that half volley. That's what Jackson can provide, some tall and a strong presence inside the box.
Last one, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, Gonzalo, you touched a little bit on this with Doug's first question, but I wonder, does it mean more for you or the team to win in this fashion where you don't necessarily play your best, especially early in the game, but you kind of manage your way through and then obviously get the result that you want at the end? It's kind of hard to say, or playing great for 90 minutes, which I know you would like to do too, but kind of what is the dynamic of winning this kind of game?
Well, I would say that winning is always the same. Winning is always that sensation, that feeling that all what you did in the week and the effort that the players put on the field was worth it, and it worked, and we deserve it. So that sensation doesn't change. But yes, effectively, probably because you just score at the end, the adrenaline is still high, so you celebrate a little bit more. And yes, at times it's just that feeling that you are getting 1 point, and then at the end you get 3 is very good. I would say that I would prefer if we are, with a little bit of more margin of goals to win the games. But I mean, there are 3 points, and at the end of the day, no one will remember if no one will say at the end if these 3 points were at the end or at the beginning. Are 3 points, and they will count, and that puts us in a very good position in standings and continue for that competition for the top of our conference. And well, we just go game by game, trying to win 3 points in any fashion possible.
Thanks, Coach. We'll be back with a couple of players. Johannes, you can take it from there.
Um,
All right, Brad's here. Chris.
Nice hat, buddy.
Just for you. Thanks, Brad. Same as always here. We're gonna Doug, you'll kick us off here with the question for Brad.
Oh, we're starting with the Zoom. We're starting with the Zoom, Winks. We've already decided that here.
If I didn't hear from Doug, and I don't know, but we'll start.
I've been
with
yelling with
Zoom,
my
then
mic
go.
off. Yes.
Go ahead,
Brad, I just asked Gonzalo this. What is the dynamic in the locker room? How is it different winning like this versus when you kind of go out and maybe dominate the game more? Is it because it feels like you go through a journey in a game like this where you start out, you're kind of sloppy, disorganized a little bit, but you somehow manage to survive? Just what is kind of that experience like as a player?
Yeah, I mean, listen, every game presents different challenges. Every game is different in its own way, right? And that's the beauty of sport in terms of playing the game. Whether you're, a first place team playing a last place team, you can obviously lose those games, vice versa. It doesn't matter. Every game is unique. Every game is different. So you play the game for that exact reason. So when you go through games like this, we know that DC is a good team. We knew that they were going to come out flying. We knew they're going to come out with high pressure. As you mentioned, we probably weren't the sharpest with the ball in terms of possession. But we said, one of the last things we said before we left the locker room before the game is you got to earn the right to play in these types of games where it's competitive, it's fast, it's, the field was hard and wet. And so the ball's flying around. You need to earn the right to be able to play. You don't just get to show up and say, well, I'm a number 10 and I play with a little bit extra flair, so I don't have to tackle, I don't have to fight. And I mean, to be fair, right? You look at the amount of fouls on Marcelino, on Thiago. At any point, their midfielders probably could have earned a second yellow. I think that's a credit to our guys, in terms of rolling our sleeves up, getting after it. I mean, you look at, Rossetto obviously has to come off at halftime. You look at Ozzy, he's got to come off in the second half. You look at Joseph, he's got to come off in the second half. Andrew Gutman, he's fighting through battle wounds and getting after Julian and taking away a major threat of theirs. So yes, it wasn't the cleanest with us on the ball, but there's other areas then where maybe in years past, we didn't have those areas where we'd be able to roll our sleeves up and join a dogfight and come out on top. And tonight we did that.
Hey, Brad, Felipe here. That's an interesting end to your quote there. I think the 17, 18, 19 teams were really good in that sense. So I'm wondering how you see this team starting to develop. Mentality is sort of a buzzword, but just this ability to fight through this. Pineda described this as a fight. I think it was pretty obvious that was that sort of game. No one really had control of the ball, but whoever laid down first was going to lose. So this is a young team. We've talked about this. How do you describe what you're seeing just developing within the group?
Yeah, I mean, listen, good and bad, but growing pains, if you will. And like I said, there's good growing pains, there's bad growing pains, and There's going to be bumps along the way. And it's how you respond to those types of moments. The season isn't a sprint. It's a marathon, and you need to be able, I saw, I think, Andrew's comments before the game, right? Talking about, we want to be a good team. You got to be able to win on the road. And it doesn't have to be pretty, because guess what? In 7 months' time, nobody's going to look back and say, oh, they got 3 points in DC, but it wasn't the best of games. I'm going to say they got 3 points in DC. They won 1-0. And so we understand that there's areas that need to be better. We understand that, we're still probably trying to get Thiago, in a bit of a rhythm in terms of him with our group and our group with him. And so there's different pieces that, you're still trying to blend together. But this is part of it. This is part of a long season, a marathon of a season. And as Andrew said before the game, you got to be able to win on the road. And tonight we showed that we can roll our sleeves up, and, we've got some guys that can go toe to toe. I think, I thought, if you remember the play at the beginning of the second half when Santi was on the far side of the field, but he, probably 35, 40 yards from goal, but he made a massive, like a man's tackle that ends up going out for a throw, but he makes a hard challenge, fair challenge. Those are types of challenges that we need, that say, yeah, no problem. You want to get into a fight? Let's go. And we're gonna rock with you.
What about the back line, Brad? I mean, you gave up 3 goals 2 weeks ago tonight, first clean sheet of the season. Obviously Miles doesn't start for obvious reasons, but what was the difference tonight in keeping the shutout?
I think the ability to be aware. In the first half, we had to make some adjustments at halftime. Obviously they were playing a little bit of a different system on their left side compared to the right side. And Durkin then was running in behind Brooks, and Allen was being occupied with either Kamara or the other striker. And so, it was difficult for Ozzy to get across because he was dealing with Canoes. And so there are times when we weren't able to solve those situations, but being able to, one, stop the delivery from Julian, which Andrew did, he did a fantastic job tonight. And then 2, between George and Allen, being able to deal with the 2 strikers and understand where their runs were coming from. When they were attacking down our right side, the second striker was running from behind Allen from where George was and looking for balls in behind Allen. And Georgie did a fantastic job of being in the right position and being, a yard or 2 just inside of him. So he always had the read on that ball, and little things like that. They don't go in statistics. They don't go in your guys' articles and when you guys talk about the games. But those are little things that make a big difference,
Brad, I wanted to ask you.
Go ahead, Joe.
I wanted to ask you about Thiago. Obviously, his first MLS start tonight, and I thought that he still looked like pretty sprightly toward the end of that game. Still making things happen. He was kind of at the center of a lot of the creativity that was happening. Just kind of wanted to get your impressions of his first full debut.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I said to him afterwards in the locker room, I said, it was probably a different game that he would have expected, and a different game that maybe he's not used to in terms of being more of a fight as opposed to a tactical football match, if you will. And so I said to him afterwards, I said, his ability to run with the ball, his ability to relieve pressure for the back line and our midfielders in terms of beating a guy 1v1, just being able to cut and chop and slow the game down. But then with one touch and acceleration, he's able to glide past guys. And those types of players are, those are huge players, and obviously he's going to be a massive player for us, but those are big time players that when they have that ability. Marcelino, again, he's the same way. And so I said to him afterwards, I said, especially late on, and my Spanish is not great, so I don't know if you got the full message, but just his ability to run the channel, continue to run forward with the ball, relieves so much pressure for obviously the last 10, 15 minutes, especially when we were defending.
I would love to hear that Spanish, Brad.
They're giving me a hard time. There's probably a lot of cuss words in there. And
have you given Marcelino a hard time for ripping the nets out in DC United with all these bangers he's scoring at the ends of these games here?
I don't even know what happened. I I finally just saw a replay of it, and yeah, I mean, listen, a goal is a goal. I don't care how it goes in. He's probably the last person to expect to head it in, but listen, again, credit to him to put his head in the mixer and get on the end of it.
Chris, let me ask Brad one last one here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your thoughts on United States, England, and the World Cup? Give it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, you look at the draw, you look at the World Cup. It's the World Cup, you know. So regardless of who's in the draw, you're going to be playing top teams. You're going to be playing important games. That's why it's the World Cup. That's why it's exciting. That's why it's the largest sporting event in world sport. And so, obviously, the first game, USA England. You know, I remember 2010. And so, listen, it's going to be feisty. It's going to be exciting. And I know we'll certainly be, you know, right up for it. And like I said, that's why you see everyone talking about it with a big smile on their face, because it's the World Cup.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brad. We should have Moreno up here shortly. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Wings. Good hat.
And Marcelino's here. Is Justin on the call?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin's here. Thanks, Marce. Thanks. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me.
Hola Marce, ¿cómo estás? Felicidades.
Gracias.
Gracias por el tiempo. All right, guys, we'll get started with questions.
Marcelino, Pineda just said, can you hear me, Justin?
Yep.
Okay, Pineda just said that in y'all's work on corner kicks, you've never been put into that rotation to attack that ball. How were you able to score tonight?
Dice que Gonzalo acaba de decir que en las pelotas paradas que nunca has, bueno, habéis entrenado con esa jugada que tú estás ahí para cabecear. ¿Cómo llegaste y cómo fue esa jugada?
No, simplemente intuí que la pelota podía llegar a caer ahí. Sabemos que Brooks tiene una gran pegada. Solamente intuí y metí la cabeza y gracias a Dios entró.
I just knew that the ball could get there. And, you know, Brooks is really good at delivering those balls into the box. So I just, I had a feeling that it might get there and I was able to head it in.
¿Qué tal, Marcelino? Con Felipe Cárdenas acá en Atlanta. Felicitaciones por el gol, pero más que nada por los 3 puntos muy importantes. ¿Cómo describirías vos el partido? O sea, pareció un partido donde ningún equipo tuvo mucho control, pero pues más que nada una pelea intensa.
Just how would he describe the game? It was very physical, very hard fought, but how would he describe it?
Sí, bueno, fue un partido muy trabado, muy difícil, muy físico. Creo que por la jerarquía de nuestros jugadores pudimos sacar el partido adelante y pudimos llevarnos 3 puntos a Atlanta.
It was a very hard game to play, very physical, but I think due to our talent, our experience, we're able to take the 3 points back to Atlanta.
Marcelino, Joe Patrick here with 30 South Soccer. Do you feel like your on-field play with Thiago Almada tonight kind of took a step up? Do you think you leveled up just kind of in the way that you guys were able to play together in the attack tonight?
Si crees que tú y Thiago hoy han subido un nivel, digamos, en cómo están jugando juntos en la cancha.
Sí, bueno, son nuestros primeros partidos juntos, nos vamos conociendo, por más que yo ya lo conocía en Argentina, no es lo mismo jugar juntos. Creo que Thiago nos va a dar mucho y esperemos tener muy buenos resultados.
Yeah, these are the first games that we're playing together now. You know, I knew him as a player in Argentina, but had never played with him before, so I think we're getting to know each other. And you know, I think we can continue to do these things on the field.
Marce, o sea, son 90 minutos para vos. ¿Cuáles son tus sensaciones después de jugar 90? Y en mi opinión, pienso que fue un partido típico tuyo, donde fuiste muy difícil de controlar. Obviamente anotaste el gol, pero ¿cuáles fueron tus sensaciones después de por fin jugar 90 minutos?
So what are his feelings after being able to play 90 minutes in this match?
Sí, bueno, mi último partido que había jugado 90 había sido en Nueva York. Pasó mucho tiempo, la verdad que me he estado preparando muy bien físicamente y creo que las sensaciones del partido de hoy son muy buenas.
Well, the last game I was able to play 90 minutes was in New York, so it's been a long time since then, and I've been training really hard physically to get to this point. So right now, the feelings that I have are very positive.
Al final, Marcelino, perdón, te vi más adelante, obviamente salió Joseph, así que ¿cuál fue la instrucción de Gonzalo en ese instante al final del partido? Obviamente estaban buscando la victoria, pero te vi jugando casi como un delantero al final.
What were Gonzalo's instructions to the team in the final minutes of the match?
Sí, bueno, Gonzalo nos pide que Thiago y yo rotemos todo el tiempo. Como vi que él se había tirado un poquito más atrás, yo me fui un poco más adelante. Esperemos que esa coordinación entre yo y él siga funcionando.
Well, Gonzalo asked Thiago and I to be constantly rotating on the field. So in those minutes, he was dropping back a little bit deeper. So I decided to move up forward a little bit more in the attack.
Marcelino, what was the meaning behind your goal celebration? It looked like you lifted up your shirt to show something beneath your jersey. What does that mean to you?
¿Qué significó la celebración que hiciste después del gol cuando levantaste la camiseta, creo?
Dice una remera que tengo hace mucho que me regaló mi esposa que dice Gloria a Dios. La verdad que Dios es muy importante para mí y para mi familia.
It's a shirt that I have that was my wife gave me a long time ago, and it says "Glory to God," and it's just because God is a very important part of my life.
Yo tengo una última.
Yeah.
Le hice la misma pregunta a Brad, Marcelino. Vos que sos ya un jugador experimentado, ¿cómo estás viendo el desarrollo, la mentalidad de este grupo? O sea, obviamente están empatando partidos, ganando partidos al último minuto, se nota que es un grupo que quiere pelear, pero en tu opinión personal, siendo un jugador que ha jugado en Argentina y ya conoces esta liga, este grupo, ¿cómo lo describirías?
Similar
Yeah.
question to what he asked Brad, just about what he's seen from the group, the development, in his opinion.
Creo que es un grupo que trabaja, entrena como juega. La verdad que nos preparamos todos los días para competir al máximo y creo que se demuestran en los partidos. La verdad, el último partido en casa lo logramos empatar, hoy nos llevamos los 3 puntos. Así entrenamos todos los días.
I think we're a team that we train like we play. We're always giving 100%, giving maximum effort to do our best. And I think you saw that in the last game at home when we were able to come back. And so we're a group that's always fighting. All right, with that, we'll let him go. Gracias, Marce.
Thank you.